All right, so each day, we are going to essentially be doing a brain dump of that topic. So just, it's exactly what you think it is. It's whatever you can remember, you're writing down about the topic. All right, so for example, today, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna model with you guys how you would do it. So take your study guide for now and put it to the side. You're gonna turn your page to the next blank left page. All right, and so this is not something that takes forever. You are gonna get 5 minutes a day to do this. So once we start class, I'm gonna say, okay, right, brain dump, long division, and then put the date, and then once everybody gives me a thumbs up, I'm gonna set my timer for 5 minutes, and you are writing as much as you can remember. Okay, so for example, obviously I'm not gonna time us today because I'm gonna model for you guys what this should look like. So someone tell me one thing about decimals that we have to know, that you remember. Elizabeth,
They have to bring down the decimal
when?
when you're adding, subtracting, multiplying.
Nope. Bring down decimal, add, and subtract. All right, what else do we remember about decimals? Savannah,
Line up your decimals
when?
when adding.
Oops, let me write the word in, that looks like two. All right, what else do we remember? Nothing? Not good.
Did you have to bring it up your decimal when you're dividing?
Do we bring it straight up?
Yes.
Okay, what else? Kira,
Anything to the right of the decimals is below zero, not a whole number.
what?
Anything below, anything to the right of the decimal is not a whole number.
You're right, but, so, and let me be very specific with this. This is adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Like, that's the the topic that we're talking about today. So that's 100% true, but not necessarily what we need to know to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Okay? What else, guys? What do we have to do if we have a decimal on the outside of our division house? Ben,
Gotta move it to the right.
until,
So it makes the decimal number to a whole number.
all right, so if we do that with the decimal on the outside, what do we know about the decimal on the inside then? Gabby?
It also has to move to the left, wait, the right the same amount of times as the one, the decimal on the outside of the division house.
Okay. What else? Think about multiplying. Why is multiplying so hard with decimals? What do we have to do? Callie? So count decimals, count decimal places. When multiplying. I'm gonna come back to yours in a second because that's kind of like the end. Do we line up our decimals when we multiply? No? And then we're gonna add Callie's information in, move decimal to the left when okay, so is there anything else we want to talk about with adding, subtracting decimals, multiplying, dividing? Those kind of the key factors. Why are you using a pen in class? We're not allowed to use pen in math class, baby. Alright, this should have taken you about a minute and a half. Okay, this is super detailed. Like, again, when you're doing a brain dump, like you wanna be like, bring down decimal add. Like, draw an arrow, a decimal point and arrow. So like, I would do decimal, arrow, plus, and multiply. I mean, make it as easy as possible for you so that you're not spending a ton of time, because remember, the EOG is time. If you spend 45 minutes doing a brain dump, is that going to be a benefit to you? No, it is not. A brain dump should take a max on EOG day, maybe 10 minutes. Because you are dumping every bit of information you have on a piece of paper, so that therefore you have it to help you get through your test. Does that make sense? So 10-minute max. That's why we're only doing 5 minutes a day. Now again, obviously this is a model, so yes, we talked through it and took us longer. Also, for that 5 minutes, your pencil does not stop moving. You have to write, you have to pull enough information from your brain about the topic that we are talking about for 5 minutes. Like, there's a ton, I don't know why you're sitting at my door, come in, sit down. There's a ton of information in your brain, not just from this year, but from previous years too, because you might need information from previous years to help you on the EOG. Like, when we talk about dividing fractions, I mean, you should already be thinking, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta teach you stuff, da-da-da. Like, that's what should be going on. So what you're running through the file in your head, in your brain, is what you're putting on this paper. Does that make sense? All right. So, turn back to this EOG review page. And like I said, this is just kind of bits of information that we pulled that we felt like would be easy, helpful. If you want to really like take control of your review, there's tons of resources on here. If you open it up, excuse me, it's got just about everything. Okay, if you, in anything that you can think of that we didn't put on there, please let me know and I will make another page. So, and if you just look through this, you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a night for the next 17 days, you will be surprised how much you actually retain. I'm not asking for hours at a time, I'm asking for 5 or 10 minutes. That's it. Riding home on the bus, punch Bryson in the face, say, leave me alone, gotta stay for the EOG for 5 minutes, right? Maybe not punch in the face, but you know, be like, Bryson, shh. But I'm just saying, this is a benefit. Please use it. Do not lose it. I'm not giving you another one of these. Okay? Put that to the side. Alright, we're going to do a couple examples of some decimal word problems, and then you guys are going to finish the day with an activity working with a partner. Alright, so when we are adding decimals, what was that key thing that you told us we had to do when we're adding decimals? Andrew.
And to line up your decimal.
Alright, so I have 43 and 1500 plus 147 and 791 thousandths. Alright, what number should I put on top? What number do you guys think we should put on top? I'm looking for more hands because at this point, nothing is new, guys. This should all be a review. Soraya, what number should go on top? Huh?
The one.
I can't hear anything you're saying.
147,000.
So just say the bigger one.
The bigger one.
Thank you. It's that easy. I'm not asking for rocket science. Why should we put the bigger one on top? Juan? Because it has more numbers. It's gonna make it a little bit easier. So we're gonna rewrite this horizontally and we're gonna do 147 and 791 thousand. And Andrew told us we have to line up our decimals, so I'm gonna write 43 here, put my decimal there, and then my 15 here. What should I put, but I don't necessarily have to put, under that one? Elizabeth? Under the one. A zero. What do we call this? What do we call that? Isabella? Placeholder. You do not have to do that. Adding is kind of one of those things where you don't need them near as much as you need them in subtracting. Alright, and then we do what from here? What do we do from here? Carter? Yep, so we're just gonna add like normal, so that's gonna be 1, that's gonna be 14, that's gonna be 9, bring my decimal straight down, 10, 9, 1. So my answer to this one is 190 and 941,000. Pretty easy. Alright, so now let's talk about subtracting decimals. Alright, what's that key thing we have to do when we subtract decimals? Again, we should have all hands up at this point. Because this is not something new, you've been doing this for years. Cam, what do I have to do with my decimals when I subtract? No, what do I have to do with the decimals when I am adding or I am subtracting? Cam, redeem yourself, please. Yes. Line up decimals. Alright, so my problem is 24 and 56 hundredths minus 3 and 489,000. Alright, what do we do? What must we do for sure with our numbers? Obviously, we're going to line up our decimals, but what's more important than that? Lily?
What you have to do is you have to put, even though, 3.
You're giving me way too much. Way too much. Like, these are simple answers, guys. What is the most important thing you have to do here? Sophia? Yes. How do we determine what's the bigger number? Because I'm looking at these numbers and I'm like, well, I mean, essentially they both have the same numbers. One has a 34 in it, one's got a 24 in it. So I'm gonna put the 34 one first. So you have to know the place values. So Sophia, which one goes first?
24,
So 24 and 56 hundredths. Alright, so that one's gotta go first. So then I'm gonna line up my 3 under my 2, my 4 under my 4, my 8 under my 5, and my 9 under my 6, correct? Why not? Gabby?
Because the decimal is between 3 and 4. And so you have to line up your decimals.
So, and this is where it becomes very important with lining up your decimals, because if not, you subtract, you're gonna get 10 something as your answer. Where the answer to this is not 10. Not even close, is it? But if you don't line up your decimals, guys, this is an easy question that you miss. And we can't afford to miss the easy questions. All right, what must we put above that 9? This one is not optional. You've got to do this. Indira? The 0. You have to put your placeholder. All right, so I'm going to do my subtraction. Bring my decimal straight down. And my answer is 21 and 71 hundredths. All right, questions about adding or subtracting? All right, let's move on to multiplying. So what do we have to remember when we multiply decimals? What's the one thing that is driven into your head for so long, and then we tell you to do this? Andrew?
Don't have to line up the decimal.
Don't line them up.
Pardon the interruption, but we forgot to announce the winner for our $20 gift card to Publix drawing. And the winner today is Miss Jennifer Gibson. So
Whoop, whoop.
Miss Gibson, come on down today. We have your gift card ready and waiting. Thank you again, and happy Teacher Appreciation Week.
Okay, so 243 and 123 thousandths times 3 and 4 tenths. How do I rewrite this? How do I rewrite this? I'm going to go ahead because I think I know. I don't believe y'all. Don't tell me no. I'm right. I'm the teacher.
It's not right. That's wrong.
I believe y'all. Faith is looking at me like, I have no idea what to say to this crazy woman. All right, Indira, why?
Because you don't line up the decimals, you'll get a different answer.
Scribble that out. I want you to write that on your paper, and then I want you to scribble it out. So you realize you don't do this. Don't do it. All right, so this is what your problem should actually look like. So at this point, we just multiply as normal. Don't worry about your decimals, let's just go through and multiply. So we do 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9, 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 3 is 12 plus 1 is 13, 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. What do I have to put under my 2? Callie? Placeholder. I'm going to cross off my 4 because I've already used it. And then I do the same thing. So 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1 is 10, and 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. All right. You guys agree? Did I do my math correctly? Check me, because you know that I don't always add, subtract, or multiply, or do math in general correctly. don't see very many thumbs, so does that mean we're just not doing it, or? Alright, and then from here, we're just going to add. Alright, Callie, where do I get my decimals from, and how do I know how many to move back in? Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places to the right, correct? Because I have 3 in this one, and I have 1 in this one, so I'm gonna add those together, and I'm gonna get 4. So now, Callie, what do I do?
So you start to right.
Okay, so I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. So then my number is 796 and 182 10,000. Sorry, I had to think about what that decimal place was. How do we feel about multiplying decimals? Okay? So if you're like, I feel like I need some practice, this is where Khan Academy comes in great. I know that you guys have used Khan Academy a ton. I don't use it in class because I feel like it gets very redundant. But it's something very easy that you can do at home. Again, a couple nights, not every night, but you know, a couple nights go through one lesson of it and just help you remember how to go through. If you forget, that crazy guy, he's got those videos. As dry as they are beneficial. Okay? I don't like listening to them. Alright, we're gonna turn the page. We have dividing decimals. I'm going to draw a line here. And we're going to talk about dividing decimals, and there are 2 types. One with the decimal inside, and then decimal outside. All right. So when you have your decimal on the inside, well, first of all, can we do the long division or division in general like this? You can, but I don't like it, and I don't want you to. I'm gonna cry a little bit on the inside. All right, so we need to rewrite this. So where does my first number go? So if this is my problem, where does my first number go? Where does your first number always go? Let me rephrase that. Isabella? All right, so I'm going to do 2 and 5200ths divided by 3. All right, what do I do here since I only have a decimal on the inside? What do I do here? Addie? So I just bring it straight up? Do I have to do anything with the decimal on the outside? Is there a decimal on the outside? Tech- Why can't I see it? Because there is a whole number. And remember, when we have decimals on the outside, we move them until we get what? A whole number. I was just checking, you know, make sure you knew. Alright, so at this point, we're just going to strictly do long division from here. We've moved our decimal, so there's nothing else that we have to worry about decimal-wise. So 3 times what gives me 2? Nothing? Okay, so I'm going to put my 0 here. 3 times what gives me 25 or close to 25 without going over? Sophia? 8. And that's going to give me 24. Bring down my 2. 3 times what gives me 12 without going over? Lily? 4. Alright, so my answer to this is 84 hundredths. Alright, you guys remember that? The other type of dividing decimals we have is when we have one on the outside as well as the inside. So 4 and 32 hundredths divided by 3 and 6 tenths. Again, can we do our division like this? No. Alright, which number goes inside my division house? Gabby?
The 4 and 32 hundredths.
Okay, and then this one goes on the outside. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna move my decimal straight up on the number on the inside, correct? Why? That's what we did for the first one? Why aren't we doing it for this one, Ramon?
Because first we have to move the decimal from outside the house to make a whole number, and then we have to do the same thing to the one inside the house.
Okay, so I'm gonna move this one time to the right? That's it? Okay, so then what do I do to the one on the inside?
Move it one time to the right.
One time to the right, this comes here, goes straight up and comes there. Alright, now I'm ready to divide. You guys agree? Alright, so am I doing 3 or am I doing 36 now? Am I doing 3 or 36? Andrew?
36.
36. Alright, so what times 36 gives me 4? Nothing? Okay. Do I have to put a 0 here? No. I am going to put a little baby X though because we have a really hard time lining up our numbers and I don't want to get confused. Alright, 36 times what gives me 43? Alex? So I'm going to multiply that by 1. I'm going to do my subtraction. That's going to give me what, 7? Bring this down. Alright. 36 times what gives me 72? Carter? 2? Alright, so my answer to this one is 1 and 2 tenths. Alright, questions. This is kind of how each day is going to go. We're going to do a little bit of conversation about the skill. We're going to go over some examples, and you're going to have some type of activity to do, whether it's independently or with a partner or a group. Okay, today you are working with a partner only. If you want to work by yourself, you can, but I am giving you the option to work with a partner. Please refer back to the information that we wrote down, okay, when you're going through this. Now, this is going to be, if you turn, so this was our brain dump and the rest of our notes. So on the left, right side, sorry, I don't know if I'm right today. You're going to put bake sale practice problems. And then today's date, which is 5/4. Alright, you and your partner are both getting a sheet, and both of you have to turn a sheet in. Alright, your information for your bake sale is all right here. Okay, you are going through and you are answering questions. So you have 3 questions on this page, you have 5 questions on this page, and 5 questions on this page. So 5 plus 5 plus 3 is how many? Are you sure?
5 plus 5 plus 3.
Are you positive?
Yeah.
We're just practicing math, that's all. So you only have 13 problems. Like, it's not like I gave you a ton of problems that you have to do. What do you notice, though, about all of the problems? What do you notice about all of them? Andrew?
The one problem.
So, Andrew, what do I expect on your paper? What happens if you don't annotate? You get a 0. If you do not finish this in class today, this is homework. Okay? We're not going to have homework every day, but whatever we don't finish in class is going to turn into having to complete at home that night. Alright, questions about the activity you're doing? Questions about the layout of your notebook? Questions about the notes? Where are we putting this paper? This is your review.
Oh, wait, that could be.
Yes, you're gluing your review in. Sorry, bless you, Ben. You're gluing your review in, and this one is who? Oy vey. Okay, alright, so once you have your partner, please send one of you up here to get your paper. If you decide to do it on your own, that is fine, that is an option as well. But I want you to know that you can also work with people. Make sure you are working though, because this is for some type of grade that's going in the grade book. Let's go. Make sure your name is on it as well, guys. Two. I'm sorry. How many people? Two. How many people? Two. One. For myself. How many people? One. How many people? Oh, God bless you, I'm so sorry. I apologize ahead of time. How many people? And Ben? How many people, Alex? One? You wanna work with Cam? Cam! Where's Cam at? You wanna work with Alex? Why don't you guys work together? Alright, who else doesn't have a paper? Is there anybody who?